Hi, good evening. Welcome to Business Live. Coming up tonight, President Akufo-Addo urges beneficiaries of 600 million stimulus package to use funds appropriately to stimulate the economy during and after the COVID-19 pandemic. We'll be getting reactions from business owners as the finance minister indicates interventions like the stimulus package could help revive the economy. And operators of printing firms across the country are demanding government pays a 6-month debt owed them to save their businesses. Thanks for being with us. We've got the details right after this break. Welcome back, everyone. Tonight, government has made available 1 billion cedis for businesses to access under the coronavirus alleviation program. With a 1-year moratorium, a 2-year repayment plan, businesses with over a minimum of 99 employees are eligible for funding. The finance minister last month got approval of Parliament to make the soft loans available to businesses to address the devastating effects of the COVID-19 pandemic on the economy. At the Jubilee House today, the president launched the Adom and Enidasu loan schemes to be managed by the National Board for Small-Scale Industries. He charged the board to be guided by transparency and accountability in the disbursement of the money.
Selected participating banks will provide negotiated counterpart funding to the tune of 400 million cedis, making in all 1 billion cedis for disbursement under this business support scheme. It is anticipated that the entire scheme will attract some 180 beneficiaries across the country. The allocation of funds under the scheme, which shall be managed by the National Board for Small-Scale Industries, NBSSI. The public agency is mandated to promote and strengthen MSMEs in Ghana, will be supervised by a loans committee composed of 1 representative each of the Ministries of Finance and Trade and Industry, a representative of the NBSSI, and a representative of the participating banks. The well-known audit firm KPMG will act as technical advisors to the scheme. Disbursement of the funds will be effected through the participating banks. Transparency and accountability will be the hallmarks of the operation of the scheme. The NBSSI, whose sole remit is the promotion of entrepreneurship and MSME development, has offices in 178 districts of the country.
And there's also good news for small businesses with less than 99 employees. Executive Director of the National Board for Small-Scale Industries, Kosi Yanke-Ayes, said they are open to all that need assistance.
The target beneficiaries of these loans are the micro, small, and medium-scale enterprises, where micro, for the purposes of labor, is 1 to 5 employees, small is from 6 to 29 employees, medium is from 30 to 99 employees. MSMEs that have been negatively impacted by the COVID-19. Those MSMEs that produce goods and items and services that will support the fight against COVID-19. The formal and informal sector, a sector so dear to your heart. The cottage industries across the length and breadth of the nation, the barbers and hairdressers, the caterers, the food vendors, the processors, the private schools, amongst many others, are eligible. Those who are large businesses under this scheme are not eligible. The 2 products that have been developed are the Adom Microsoft Loans and Enidasu Soft Loans. Loans named after what we seek, blessings at a time like this, and hope for a better future, which we believe these loans will provide for the good people of Ghana. The terms of the loans are 5% interest rate as at now, especially implemented so that the dignity of our people is not wiped away at a time such as this. The moratorium is up to 1 year, and the repayment is between 2 to 3 years. How does one apply? Applicants can register via their phones, text, online, and in some selected cases and in certain districts where technology is not efficient, paper applications. Applications will be received on a central portal. Applicants will receive a message via text or email, specifying their unique reference code, a URL to support with the next steps. With the reference code, they will be able to go through the application process. The technology platform passed on to the participating financial institutions, and the telcos will access the application and issue a recommendation. Once the recommendation is approved, funds will be disbursed directly to successful applicants. Disbursements will be made via mobile money transfer or direct payment into their bank accounts. The funds and the process would go through participating financial institutions.
While the global economy is expected to witness a negative growth this year, primarily due to the coronavirus pandemic, here in Ghana, the Finance Ministry has revised Ghana's projected growth from 6.8% to 1.5% this year. Sector Minister Ken Ofori-Atta is counting on interventions like the stimulus package to revive the economy.
Precious, the government has secured an IMF facility of $1 billion and $100 million from the World Bank for the COVID-19 preparedness plan, while an additional $350 million is being worked on with the World Bank for direct budgetary support in 2020. We are also reprogramming various facilities with our development partners, and the EU has successfully reprogrammed 91 million euros to support us in our fight against the virus. Your Excellency, permit me at this point to express our appreciation to the Governor and his team at the Bank of Ghana for working with us to put in place the Bank of Ghana's Asset Purchase Program, which will invest in government's COVID-19 relief bond program. The program will see the central bank support the government of some 10 billion cedis to help close the financing gap and ensure that the economy does not enter into a prolonged recession. The assistance comes at a time when financing conditions have also worsened as investor sentiments, especially for emerging market debt, have declined. However, with the intervention from the central bank, we have now been placed in a better position to win this fight. Government, now for the real economy, as people will say, the real meat and potatoes of why we are here. I don't know what meat and potatoes is, maybe it's fufu ninam. Government is committed to ensure that SMEs remain vibrant and continue sustaining jobs for the good people of Ghana.
The Finance Minister there, so many micro, small and medium enterprises have high expectations that the COVID-19 stimulus package will revive their businesses. As the President unveiled the fund today, Joy Business engaged some small businesses in the SME space who welcomed the idea and also promised to pay back in time to enable government recoup the necessary revenue for the state. Chief Executive of Giddens, a footwear manufacturer in Accra, Gideon Denjo, has this to say.
It's a laudable initiative, and with 3 weeks of almost no sale, I think this is going to do us good. And looking at the current interest rate that the banks offers, I think that this 5% is really going to do us good. Because if you go to your local bank, it's around above 28%, and I think 5% for a 1 year moratorium and payment of 2 to 3 years, I think is the best that we can get as an SME.
But is the money enough? I mean, when you look at the number of SMEs in Ghana, is this adequate to help alleviate, like they name it, COVID-19 alleviation program? Is it enough to alleviate the kind of negative impact that COVID-19 has brought to our economy?
They call it an IDASO fund, and I think that it will bring some sense of hope. But the unfortunate thing is that I think that if you do your normal calculation, you might think that you are getting just 3,000 cedis, and even with that, not so many people will get, because they are trying to share 600 million for 200,000 SMEs. So just your mere calculation, you know that it's around 3,000. But I hope the government could do more, but maybe this is just a start, and we just pray that they'll be able to secure a lot more funding so that they could support SMEs like ours.
But how severely has the COVID-19 affected business?
On the whole, I think when you speak with other people, my competitors and everything, they tell you how severe it's been even with us, because we've done no sale for like close to a month, and we also had to pay our workers in full with the hope that government will support us, and that was some of the reasons why we paid our workers in full. And there's drastic reduction in sale, because most of the shoes that will be bought by people for weddings and for corporate work, now there are no more weddings, more like people also don't go to work, and there's a lot of teleworking, and so people don't really have the urgent need for shoes, and so definitely it's been affected. It's really affected us, and we hope that in the coming days we will be able to recover.
Meanwhile, we are getting reaction from the president of the Ghana Union of Traders Association, Dr. Joseph Obeng, who says the association will ensure that all beneficiaries pay back the funds they receive.
We are doing this through the associations. First, government want to formalize the informal sector so that we joining groups like the existing groups and all that will help government to build data, necessary data and all that. And also for the membership itself to do the necessary due diligences on this fund, so that it will not be that somebody is going to just misuse this fund. So we are going to take care of ourselves in this regard. Yeah, it should be our duty, our mandate to safeguard even our own integrity. The fact that this is a novelty that the government is doing and all that, the onus lies on us to make sure that this project works and works into our favor. Because as I've said, I want this fund to be there forever for us, to be a revolving fund for us. So we are going to do everything possible to make sure that it works. And when it works, another person can also come in and get something. Yeah. That's the nature of your business, that you apply your business to these destinations that are all shut down. It means that you are not going, you are not coming and all that. Because the nature of your capital is such that you cannot also buy directly from the manufacturer. And these people form about 60%. And their work is almost collapsed there. And then also our suppliers who used to give us even credit, now they don't give us the suppliers credit any longer. If your capital is a borrowed one also, then you have to contend yourself with the interest payment and all that.
Business owners are being to join certified business associations to ease up the process of accessing government stimulus package. President of the Automobile Dealers Association of Ghana, Eric Boateng, tells Joy Business only SMEs in good standing will be considered. He spoke to Joy Business after a presentation to the Chief Imam.
Probably by 25th on this yesterday, they are going to do the launching. Then on the 25th, they will start and disburse the money. But the full assurance we have is, if you are not part of any association or union, for my understanding, it will be very difficult for you to even access that loan. So I'll urge everybody, even so far as I'm a car dealer, I'm urging my people, they should try and then cooperate with other union or association, so that if we are qualified to get a particular package from what the government said, you will definitely get yours. This morning, as automobile dealers, we decided to do something for our brother Muslims concerning this Ramadan. By next week, they are going to start their Ramadan. That is the Salah. So as automobile dealers, we decided to do something to help, to support because of the COVID-19. You know, the systems are very difficult now. So we prepare something to, donate to the Muslims so that we can support the other people who are in need of these particular items. So that is why actually we are here. 30 bags of rice, each bag contains 5. So assuming 200 people can get each one of them. And then also we have oil and then other things as well. So that is what we are presenting it.
You're watching Business Live. Turning to one of our top stories tonight, operators of 12 printing firms across the country are demanding government pays a 6-month debt owed them to save their businesses. Many of the print houses have folded up due to the closure of schools following restrictions on social gatherings in a bid to curb the spread of COVID-19. Owners say their woes have been compounded by government's failure to pay them for printed examination questions for public schools. They are asking for payment of funds accrued from printing end-of-term exam question papers from KG to JHS to save them from collapse. Lab FM's Erastus Asaridonko has more.
A few months ago, these giant printing machines breathed life into countless jobs that fed the local economy. Today, they sit idle in the absence of weddings, funerals, active academic work in schools, and other events. Amid the gloom, the printers say government has defaulted in paying them for printing end-of-term exam question papers from KG to junior high school. Obin Kufuor echoes the sentiments of his colleagues who are reeling under the impact of COVID-19.
Posters, booths for schools, posters for funeral, for wedding, everything has come to a standstill. This paper that you saw here, people brought it, but they have stopped us, so we are no longer working on it. And what we have done already, we are not being paid. December, for instance, we printed exams questions for districts and then municipal education office. As at now, they haven't paid us.
Kofi Poku speaks for the print houses owed by government.
We have printed questions for the government. We ordered the districts directors to award the contract to the printers to do the work. We have done the work for 2 terms. The government haven't paid us. Because of that, our business are collapsing because we own our creditors. Now, you know, because of the COVID-19, government has suspended everything. If you don't get work from outside to do. Now, the schools are also on break. Because of that, we don't get anything job to do. Even our workers are now at home. We don't have money to pay them. So you want government to come to our aid. What you owe us, you should come and give us the money so that it can help us to build our business again.
Now, these are raw materials procured for a busy enterprise like the print house. But they've been left sitting here doing nothing. All these equipments have been left idle. Before COVID-19, they would have been very busy by now, printing loads of cards, from funerals to weddings to other things. But they've all been shut down. These are signs of a collapsing business.
Already, many of these print houses have folded up due to pressure from creditors and lack of jobs.
Here on the streets of Asafo, one of the main employers here are the print houses. So shops like this one behind me offer gainful employment to many of the teeming youth here. But already, many of them are folding up because of the negative impact of the coronavirus pandemic. Now the surviving ones are asking government that they've been printing exam papers for the past 6 months. If government will bail them out, they will be able to stay afloat and continue to offer employment for the youth here. Reporting for JoyNews, Erastus Asaridonko, Kumasi.
In other news, Chief Executive Officer of the Ghana Cocoa Board, Joseph Boahen-Edu, has expressed concern over the destruction of cocoa farms by illegal miners at Osino in the Fantiakwa South District of the Eastern Region. Mr. Edu witnessed the destruction firsthand last week when he led a team from the board on a tour of cocoa farms in the area. Meanwhile, cocoa farmers are asking for the reclamation of farms from illegal miners going forward. There's more in this report.
The aerial view of cocoa farms at Osino in the Fantiakwa South District in the Eastern Region reveals gullies caused by desperate illegal miners thirsty for gold. This remains a new trend as some cocoa farmers are sacrificing their lands in exchange for cash. Chief Executive of Cocoa Board Joseph Boahen-Edu paid a visit to these sites.
This used to be a very young cocoa farm, but now everything is gone. They've just destroyed everything. They've devastated this land. And then the cocoa, which is the backbone of the country. So more or less the economy of the country that is being destroyed. And these are clear saboteurs. Yet you have recalcitrant citizens who are, still bent on engaging in illegal mining. If the backbone of the economy is destroyed, then what is the fate of this country? It's sad. Farmers are not interested to give their land. The next time they go to their farms, the farms had been already invaded and then vandalized. We cannot have a lawless society.
Ghana's cocoa sector remains the backbone of the economy, considering its huge contribution to GDP. Samuel Tetekobo is a cocoa farmer who owns swathes of cocoa lands. He believes now is the time for Cocoa Board to help farmers reclaim their lands.
It's very painful. It's so hurting. My concern is that we should be able to ensure that once they even take that land and do their mining or whatever it is, we should be able to get them to replant trees, to reclaim the land. Because it can be easily...
The activity of galamsey operators are one of the major challenges faced by cocoa farmers and the cocoa industry at large. The menace threatens to undo the investment made by government to modernize cocoa farming and increase yields. So far, the Eastern region, where the CEO witnessed the incident, and the Western, North and Ashanti regions are the worst affected by illegal mining. I'm Charles Aite for Joy Business.
The CEO of the Chamber of Mines, Suleiman Okoni, says mining companies will want a review of aspects of the mining law with particular attention on the ratification of large-scale concessions. He says this is a major drawback for mining companies that want to either expand or set up altogether in the country. In 2007, 21 concessions were issued without going through Parliament, and the issue is currently before the Supreme Court.
But within the mining industry, the interpretation of ratification is not the same as prior approval. That is our understanding. Because if you consider the Constitution, it talks about, in some instances, it talks about prior approval. In other instances, it talks about ratification. So if the framers of the Constitution meant that ratification meant prior approval, they would have said so. In any case, there's still no timeline around ratification. There's no timeline at all around ratification. Again, if you look at the law itself, it requires that mining companies should start production within 2 years of grant of lease. So you are racing against the clock. Yeah. So you see, so mining companies are caught in a bind. That if you don't start production with 2 years, government has a right to cancel your lease or suspend your lease. And at the same time, you also have this ratification. And that is why, for us, there's a kind of flexibility around ratification. If we had our own way, ratification would be done prior to commencement of mining. Our expectation is that once government grants the leases to mining companies, duty bearers should actually take this to Parliament. Because what companies cannot do is to present these leases to Parliament.
If you had the opportunity to change Act 703, anything in it today, what will the Chamber want to change?
Wow, that's a big one. But I think for us, the critical one, which is keeping the whole industry awake at night, has to do with the question of ratification, and that's a big one. And we would rather have some more certainty around ratification.
All right, and that's it for Business Live tonight. More news on our website, myjoyonline.com/business. My name is Darryl Carl. Thanks for watching. We'll be back same time tomorrow. Goodbye.